April meeting of the Lee County Board of Education, and it's always a pleasure to see our guests. I certainly want to welcome the staff and the parents and students from East Lee and West Lee. It's always great to see you, have you here with us. Will Dorn from the Sanford Herald, Margaret Murchison from the radio station, and I'd like to introduce a person who is new to us, Laurie Salafia. Did I get that right? And Laurie is here in place of Emily Grimes, who is usually here. So welcome to our community, Emily. Now, if you will join me in a few moments of silence as we reflect on the day's activities. Thank you. Now, if you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Public comments? There are no public comments. At this point, I would like to read our mission statement as a school board. Our beliefs as a school board are that all students can achieve at high levels regardless of ethnicity, race, or socioeconomic background. Data analysis should guide instruction decision. Quality teachers are the key to effective student learning. All students and teachers should have access to innovative instructional practices and technology. Safe and nurturing schools are a prerequisite for teaching and learning. Effective and efficient support systems are necessary to support student and employee success. Positive relationships are the key for effective community partnerships. And I'd like to share now the ethics statement that guides the activity of board members. Board members must avoid conflicts of interest and appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of the board. We must avoid the solicitation and or acceptance of gifts in return for advice or assistance on matters concerning the operation of the business of the board. We must avoid the misuse of public funds, avoid misrepresentation or falsification of facts, and avoid making confidential information public. At this point, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented this evening.
And is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed? The agenda is approved. Is there a motion to approve minutes of March the 4th, March the 6th, March the 11th, March the 18th, and again on March the 18th?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from 3/4/2014, 3/6/2014, 3/11/2014, 3/18/2014 joint meeting, and 3/18/2014.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes have been approved. And Dr. Bryan, if you would like to introduce our guests.
Thank you, Chairman Smith. I'd like to begin by asking Principal Melvin Marshall to come forward. He'll be introducing one of our student presentations tonight from Wesley Middle School with the Art Olympics. Thank you for being here, Mr. Marshall. You can pick it up. That's fine.
There we go. All right. Thank you. On behalf of Wesley Middle School, we're honored to be here before you again. Last year was an honor to be here, just as much as honor this year. I'm going to introduce our art teacher, Ms. Samantha Shanka, and she's a veteran art teacher who actually had some of our art students participate in what's called the Art Olympics, something that I was interested in finding out more about, and I thought it would be a great representation to have her here this evening. I'm going to let her do the honors of introducing our students.
Hey, thank you for having us. We're excited to be here and talk about the Art Olympics. I have two of my students here today. I have Tyler Profio and Mackenzie Roche. You girls can come up here now, I guess, if you want, while I'm talking about the beginning of it. Okay. I have a PowerPoint. It's art, so we want to see pictures of it. Oh, sorry. Roche, not Roche. Okay, so the Art Olympics, basically it's an annual art competition that takes place in Central North Carolina, and this year there were 7 participating counties there. I want to take a moment and make sure I thank the Lee County Arts Council because they provided the registration fees for all the students that went from West. There were 10 of us, and then there were also a few more from Sandley that also went. Eastleigh was supposed to go, but it got moved from a Friday to a Saturday because of all the snow, and so some of the kind of people got pushed off of that. But so the Art Olympics, basically the rundown of the day is that each student that goes gets assigned 2 events, and each event is an hour and a half. They have the materials provided, they have the instructions of what they're supposed to be doing for that art event, and they have that whole hour and a half to complete it. At the end of the event, their artwork is collected, and at the end of both events, there's a judging that takes place. They tally up the points based on the different criteria for the different events. There is, as far as figure drawing, there was relief sculpture, painting, all different kinds of categories. So just in the PowerPoint, I have a couple of pictures from the day. We did really good. It was West's first year going. I was really excited we were able to do that this year. These are all the winners that we had. So we had 2 first-place winners, 3 second place, 1 third place, 3 fourth place, and 1 fifth place. So for our first time going and for 10 of our students going, I thought that was really impressive, and I was really proud of them. Here's one of our first-place winners. It was Hannah Boyce. Figure drawing, you can see they had to do an Arabian theme. They had to be aware of the backgrounds and all that they had to put in that figure drawing. And this is our second one. It was a collage, self-portrait collage. They had to kind of fill the space and make sure that they represented themselves in that. So here's a couple just working during the events, and some more in progress. Okay, so what Mackenzie and Tyler will do is they'll take a little bit of time and describe, what was expected of them during the events, what they liked best about the day, and I guess if they want to go back next year. Okay, so you want to go first, Mackenzie?
For my first event, the one on the bottom right, I did black ink square designs where we had 1-inch templates and we had squares and we just put in different designs, and it was almost like a Zentangle theme. And you were expected to show neatness and creativity and show different values and 3D textures with your designs. And then for my second event, I did creative cans where we were supposed to animate the can and add a background in a scene and then use different shadings and values. One of my favorite parts of the Art Olympics was the atmosphere and the diversity, because there were some people who did realism in their art and then some people who did anime or manga, and they all had a different way of drawing, but they all did almost the same event, and it was cool to see how everything ended up different. And I'd love to go back next year because it's a great way to use a Friday or a Saturday. It's a great learning experience. and it's a lot of fun to be with a bunch of friends from the school and do art.
We were going to have another girl here. Ashley, she couldn't make it, but these are two of her events she was going to talk about, and then we have Tyler's two awesome artworks.
Okay. I did the scratch art of an exotic bird on the right, and that event was my second. We had to display both shading and a bird from a picture where we wanted to show texture. We were to place the scratch art over a magazine and sketch it with different utensils so that you could see a bird with the rainbow colored paper underneath. My first event was illustrate a haiku with watercolor colored pencils, and we were to show more shading in that and illustrate what a poem was talking about, and then in marker write the poem and display what it's talking about. And I definitely enjoyed Art Olympics. It was a great way to spend a Friday or Saturday, as Mackenzie said. And my favorite part would definitely be doing the events and meeting different people, because it's a great way to meet people outside of your county if you aren't able to get out a lot, and bring different students together and show their passion in art, even if they don't all have the same appearance.
So that's pretty much it. I'll just kind of run through the rest of the slides so you can kind of get a little feel of the rest of the events that the Wesley students did. That was Crystal, the one that won the first, and she actually won fourth on her other drawing of the armor. Aaliyah, she also did the scratch art, and she got third in that one. Tyler got second, by the way, in her scratch art, and Mackenzie got 2 second places in both of hers. Summer, she did the relief sculpture and a still life. Madison also did illustrating a haiku, figure drawing. Hannah and Ariana and Joey. So that's pretty much it. It was a really cool way to, again, spend the Saturday. I was really proud of all of them, and I'm just really glad that they were able to show their artistic skills. Okay, thank you guys.
Congratulations. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful talent, we can certainly tell. Thank you. Dr. Smith would also like to ask Ms. Shannon Shuey, principal of Eastleigh Middle School, to come forward to introduce her group, who was just recently sort of highlighted on one of our inspired magazines for the groups. Ms. Shuey?
Thank you for allowing Eastleigh Middle School and our club to come and present to you. We are blessed to have this event at Eastleigh Middle School and incorporate all of our students with us. This was a special program that we teamed up with the Special Olympics and the Department of Instruction, DPI, with a grant, and we could choose anything. We could do it sports-oriented, or we could do an educational club. And we decided to team up our EC students with our regular students and come up with a cooking club, something different that Eastleigh didn't offer at the time, incorporate it, and the kids have had a blast, and they're here to share some treats, I believe, as well as the presentation for you.
My name is Chris Toth. I've kind of teamed up with Ms. Shuey to run the Sprouts. And I would like to just say, before we get started, I want to give a thank you to Ms. Shuey, Ms. Brewer, and Ms. Williams for their unwavering support of the program throughout the year, as well as to Ms. Rice, who has kind of been my right arm throughout the entire year. I think in the true nature of the club, I think we're going to have the kids kind of introduce it and go through what we do.
Sprouts is an educational cooking program at Eastley Middle School with a total of 10 members, 5 exceptional students, and 5 general education students. My name is Megan Collins, and I'm in 6th grade. I enjoy Sprouts because I love to cook and help people. One of my favorite recipes that we cooked was Oreo truffles, and I've actually made them out of the Sprouts program.
Every other week we meet in our kitchen. This is also known as Mr. Toast's transferring classroom. And we work together to carefully follow our recipes, appropriately measure ingredients, and have a lot of fun. And we have aprons and our little hats. And they're over there, but we didn't wear them. But my name's Nick Mansfield, and I'm in the 8th grade. And I met Mr. T through playing football. And he's the one who introduced me to this program, and I didn't really know how I was gonna like it because I didn't know what it was about. But turns out it was really fun.
Our club is possible thanks to a grant from the Special Olympics Project Unified, an education-based program that uses sports and educational programs to develop school communities where all students are agents of change. Actually, in October, I went to a seminar about Project Unify, and we did a lot of team building, and I learned more about exceptional children and actually other students as well.
This is a picture of our group that everyone that does Sprouts. And my name is Michael Frazier. I'm in 8th grade at Eastley. This is my friend Dennis. And I enjoy doing Sprouts with the kids because they enjoy me helping them. And I know they enjoy doing all the cooking and fun things we do in the class. And I was introduced to this club by Mr. Toth from playing football this past year. All right, as y'all know, this is Dennis. I'm Michael. This is Nick.
This is Megan.
This is McCray.
This is Sprout.
And we have a little video that we've prepared for you while you enjoy some of our treats. And again, my name is Kristen Rice, and I'm the 6th grade EC teacher at Eastley Middle School.
Go ahead. I like Sprouts because it gave me a chance to experience new people and new things. And I like helping people. Go. I like Sprouts because I can cook with my friends.
And then put it on there.
Have you made a snowball?
This side over here.
No, I'm making a small snowball.
Dennis, that's a little too big, buddy.
And it's one bite size, even though that might be a Dennis bite size, it's not a normal person's bite size.
Like that, right there.
That's perfect.
Dennis, no, put that back. Bring it.
Yeah, get you one.
Bring up the little one.
Even though I'm not
Here, give me.
Why do you like Sprouts? Because I like to cook.
I like Sprouts because I like to cook with my friends.
I like the Sprouts program because I love to cook and meet people. When I was in elementary school, I helped Hannah, who's also in the Sprouts program, and I'm so glad that I get to help her again.
Want to move to the other room?
Just leave it how it is. How about we move the chocolate over here so we have room? Okay, Hannah, pick one up. Then we'll drop it in the chocolate.
Mr. Chairman,
then
I'd
we'll
like
ask
to make
a
a
friend to
motion
get it
that they
all
come back
nice and
every month.
gooey and put it back on. Just drop it.
Mr. Bernardi, I was going to suggest that is a good idea. We've had a lot of entertainment, but nobody's fed us yet. This is a good precedent.
Gosh, it is. Good job, Griselda.
Perfect. And then you're a professional dunker. So you grab one and then dunk it.
I'll tell you in a minute.
That makes one of us. Perfect, Hannah. Dunk it right in there.
Dunk it, Hannah.
Watch out. Ready, Hannah?
Here, just put it down.
Here, Hannah, you
Good
ready?
job.
We're going to dunk together. You ready? You got it? Wait a second. You ready, Hannah? 1, 2, 3, dunk.
Oh, good job, guys.
I like Sprouts because I get to cook with the kids.
He said it's cool, so your turn.
I like to eat that. I like to cook that too. It's fun.
I love the Sprouts program because I love to cook, but I also love to help exceptional children, and that's the best part.
Sis, can you tell me what you're doing?
Come here, I'm gonna show you. You need to do it too. Come on, let me do that. Okay. All right, look.
Get all this in here.
Why are you rocking me right here? Oh, you want me to use the butt, right?
And I would just like to say one final thing, which is over the course of this past year, I've gotten to work with 10 absolutely incredible young men and women who truly exemplify what the Lee County Schools should be very proud of. Thank you.
Thank you all as teachers for taking that on as well, to provide an opportunity for young people to do that. And we are so impressed. Nick, I do have to say, I was reading through all the slides that were up there, and I did notice that yours is the one that said add extra chocolate when necessary. I think that was a big hit up here on the stage with the board.
Absolutely.
So, thank you all so much for the food and for being here tonight. You did a great job.
As we continue, I guess the board will be pleased that there is no chairman's report. So we'll proceed with the superintendent's report.
Great part of the night, I think, is recognizing students. I'd like to ask Bo Rounds if he would come forward, get an opportunity to recognize our champion quiz bowl team from Learley College for Lee County. Won the competition just over a month ago, and I just want to recognize them tonight. Mr. Rounds.
Hi, thank you for having us. With the students that can come in front of me is Isaac Haynes. Beside him is Warren Calavito, and beside him is Tyler Everhart. We had a few students who couldn't make it. Their names, and so we can recognize them, are Bruno Aranda, Hunter Jones, Stephen Grace, and Rodolfo Urias. So they weren't unable to make it, but our quiz bowl team got first place this year, and they were able to go to state. But we just want to thank, and Isaac's going to basically just explain what quiz bowl is real quick, take a minute or so.
Well, this is probably going to be an impromptu speech because I was just informed about this like 2 days ago. So, well, Quiz Bowl, at least at LAC, is just where we get together. It's just a general knowledge, just exactly that quiz where we compete against the other schools, Lee County and other counties. I'm not going to go into other counties. But, we were lucky enough to pull ahead in the last round of the competition in Lee County, and it was close. I can tell you that. But we practice a lot. It's just lots of general education, general questions, and I guess Tyler is going to be the new captain next year, but I think he could describe what happens better than I could.
All right, then. He was given 2 days' notice. I have 2 seconds. So, like he said, it's a lot of general knowledge throwdown, as the Brain Game host says every week. We did get to go to Brain Game this past year. We placed second place against the North Carolina School of Science and Math. And generally, we practice every week for about half an hour to an hour out of a booklet with past questions from past year's competitions. And we got to go to counties this year, and we didn't have our hopes set too high because this is our first or second year. Is that about right? Third or fourth year, excuse me. My first year with serious competitions like this, aside from small school-wide things. Anyways, so we were lucky enough to make it to the championship without any turbulence, and Southern Lee really tested our knowledge, and I really thought they deserved the victory, and I think they did deserve the victory. But I was very glad that we got to pull through and move on to the state's competitions, which I won't go into because it wasn't this pretty. So, it was an honor to get to come here tonight and see the board and talk about our club, and I thank you all for having us.
Again, as Tyler said, thank you guys, and I said it's an honor to be here, and if we can see any of you at our school so we can show off what our wonderful students do and the rest of the students as well, we'd love to have you guys and stop in and see us sometime. Thank you.
Thank you. I will say, Mr. Chairman, they are a little modest because I was there that day when they kind of sailed through the first few rounds, and the last 2 matches against Southern, sort of double elimination, were really tight. But these guys are cool customers, and they did an outstanding job that day, and I think we have a lot to be proud of, and they have a lot to be proud of as well. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. Next group I'd like to recognize, I'd like to introduce Mr. Wayne Trogdon, who is with the Sand Hills Leadership Academy. He's with us here tonight. And Mr. Trogdon, I don't think wants to come up to the microphone, but this is one of the gentlemen that was one of the driving forces and has been one of the driving forces behind the Sand Hills Leadership Academy, which helps prepare prospective administrators. And it's done in a way where it's real-world application. They provide a great program in the needed areas that administrators need to be able to learn. But the strength of this program that's been recognized just not in our region but across the state and by the State Board of Education is the idea that administrators learn best by practicing and putting things into everyday use. And that's what this program does. And we have a number of our administrators, as you all know, within our district who came through this program. And we're very proud of the efforts that this program put forth. Our mentor principals who've been part of it. And I'd like to introduce this year's participants who are going to come forward and they have a presentation for us tonight. So first I'd like to ask Angela Colvin from Southern Lee High School, Crystal Caldwell from Tramway Elementary, and Wendy Perrell from B.T. Bullock Elementary School. And as many of you all know, they are, in essence, even though they're called interns, they are practicing administrators day in and day out in their schools, except for when they have to go to their classes with Mr. Trogdon and the other coaches. And they do an outstanding job. So I will turn it over to them.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to stand before you tonight, not only as a member of the Sand Hills Leadership Academy, but as a member of the administration team here in Lee County Schools. And we'd like to take a few moments to honor and to salute those that have guided us and supported us throughout this year in making the right decisions for our children each and every day. Again, I'm Wendy Perrell. I had the pleasure to be at B.T. Bullock, and my mentor principal is Ms. Pamela Sutton.
Hi, I'm Angela Colvin. I'm currently at Southern Lee High School, but I started out my experience at Tramway Elementary, and it was a wonderful process and time, and I want to take this time to recognize first Ms. Ann Beal, for her guidance as I was at Tramway. And then as I was placed as an assistant principal, I continued to learn under Chris Dossenbach. He continued to nurture my leadership skills and abilities, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Hi, and I'm Crystal Colwell, and what an outstanding experience it has been through all of this. I have developed relationships with my fellow cohort members, and I had a unique experience to actually start off here at Lee Senior with Miss Wilson. And Mr. Keller's here. He's back here. So I did get to start off here. And then I did transition to Tramway, where I'm with Miss Ann Beal currently. And it's been a wonderful experience and a very it's the perfect growing experience. I feel like we're thrown in and we're challenged by our mentors, our mentor coaches, our mentor principals, and we meet those challenges through reflection and through feedback and communication. So I guess we can go ahead and start our video that represents our SLA experience.
At the heart of the Sandhills Leadership Academy is our vision to prepare a cadre of highly effective school leaders for high-need schools in the Sandhills region.
It is a fabulous program. It's a great way for these future administrators to go ahead and be immersed into what administration is all about. It gives them an opportunity to work with students, parents, as well as all staff members in that broad kind of way, which helps them to see and understand what really goes on in a school on a daily basis. Those real-world experiences that from the assignments that we got each week when we were in SLA, I use them every day. Things like when we did the HRMS assignment and had to dive in and find out all about the people that were in our school, I still use that today because I could not be where I am today if it wasn't for SLA. If I could encourage anyone to participate, I would.
One of the things that I learned from Sandhills Leadership Academy was the importance of being the instructional leader. It's a focus of the program. Being an instructional leader in your school and demonstrating how the importance of being in the classrooms, the importance of working with the teachers so that you can help them have the largest impact possible on the kids in the classroom. And also building the relationships with the teachers and the kids and showing them that you care about them and showing why what we do is so important for them every day.
My experience with Sandhills Leadership Academy has allowed me to lead change, build relationships with staff, students, and community members, and to learn how to utilize data to support school improvement efforts. It has provided hands-on experience that is necessary in preparing administrators for real-life situations. This program places emphasis on tasks that facilitate instructional and strategic leadership, school improvement, and student achievement. SLA has consistently given me opportunities that will assist me in being an effective leader. Sandhills Leadership Academy experience has taught us to build relationships. I love to be visible throughout the school, talking with students, with teachers, with parents who may visit our school. SLA has also taught us how important it is to get into our classrooms and provide teachers with the feedback they need to build a capacity for instructional leadership. Through SLA, they have taught us that collaboration is key in establishing professional learning communities. In those communities, we're able to reach a common goal, create a shared vision to make sure all of our students succeed.
Sandhills Leadership Academy is providing just-in-time learning. During my administrative placement as assistant principal, I used the professional readings,
rigorous assignments, and executive coaching regularly. I look forward to continuing my journey to become an effective leader.
The Sandhills Leadership Academy exists to advance the field of school leadership by producing principals with an urgent focus on getting results quickly and a belief in and personal responsibility for every student to achieve at a high level, to be globally competitive for work and post-secondary education, and to be prepared for life in the 21st century.
We want to just take this time to say again thank you to the board for allowing us and placing us in Lee County under mentor principals that we can truly learn and grow under. And at this time, do you have any questions for us regarding our presentation or the video?
I'm just very proud of the two of you that were my colleagues when I was here.
Great leadership.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much. Truly is a great program. Wayne, thank you. Thank you for all you do. This time I'd like to recognize Dr. Jim Atkinson to come forward. I'll be recognizing our Clean School of the Month recipient.
Good evening. It's time again to honor the Clean School of the Month Award, and this month's winner, or actually for March, is going to be Tramway. So we'd like to ask Tramway to come up. And while they're coming up again, I always want to brag on our other schools that have done a good job. We averaged 94.47 for a score out of 100. So we do appreciate all the hard work that all of our schools are doing. But this month, the spoils go to the victor, and they are going to be Tramway, who's won the second time this school year. So I think you won back in October, and we congratulate you again for this one.
Thank you, Dr. Atkinson. We appreciate that.
So, would you like to say anything?
I would like to thank you and everyone else who has anything to do with this. We appreciate it so much, and I would also like to thank all of our wonderful custodians at Tramway. 3 of them could not be with us tonight. One is actually working at the school. He insisted on it. And then the other 2 just had other engagements, prior social engagements, and they couldn't come tonight. But Mr. Boykin is our head custodian, and he is just awesome. He takes his work very seriously and really has high expectations, and he really is a great leader. And I appreciate all of our custodians and the leadership that Mr. Boykin provides. But thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Atkinson. Ms. Sharon Spence for our web page of the month.
Good evening. I have the honor again this month to introduce to you our classroom web page of the month winner. And this evening's honor goes to Tony Davis. Tony is a 7th grade language arts teacher at Sandley Middle School. And as you recall, they've had several winners this year. So we are very proud of their continued success with all that they do with their web pages at Sandley. Accompanying Mr. Davis is Betsy Bridges, the principal of Sandley Middle School, and Natalie Warren, who is assistant principal. One of the assistant principals at the school is also here tonight to support Mr. Davis. So I will first ask Mrs. Bridges if she would like to say a word, and then turn it over to Mr. Davis and let him walk you through his website.
Keisha Durr, other assistant principal, is also here tonight, so we're all out to support. She slipped in. She did. That's okay. And I want to say that I'm a proud graduate of Sandhills Leadership Academy and moved right on up into principalship, and I owe it all to Sandhills Leadership Academy and the support that I've had in Lee County. So thank you for supporting the program, and I hope you continue to do so. Now, back to Tony. Tony is awesome, and you're going to see what an amazing teacher he is because he does so much through his webpage. We put a lot of emphasis on communication from school to home, and Tony also communicates not only with home through his webpage, but with his students. A student can be out from the classroom and know exactly what's going on that day. They can have their assignments done and completed if they feel up to it. It's just amazing what all he can do, and I cannot wait for you to see how he's also incorporated the new Power School and how they're using the grading section through his webpage. It's just amazing. So what he's getting ready to pull this up, and I'm going to and see all the emails that are from me. No, I'm not up there yet. I'm looking at all the emails from Betsy Bridges on his thing. So I'm going to turn it over to Tony Davis.
Thank you for having me today. At the beginning of this is my third year at Sandley, and we, of course, have a no zeros policy at Sandley, and so every student in my classroom needs to get their work made up by the end of the quarter, and I also give full credit for any assignments they want to make up. So the students, if they get a C and they want to bring it up to a B, they're always welcome to go get their assignment, redo it, and turn it in for full credit. In the past, I have printed off missing work for students. You can probably guess how that goes. They take the assignment, they leave it somewhere, they leave it on my floor, they lose it, they need me to print it off again. It becomes disruptive, and I end up printing off 3 or 4 copies for one student. So in order to kind of bestow them with some more responsibility, as well as take some frustration off of me, I asked one of our veteran teachers at our school, Karen Caldwell, she has a system where she has work folders in the front, which I'm sure a lot of teachers do, that she has work folders in the front. She labels them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for every assignment, or she puts the date on them. So the students can go, and she just runs off copies. Students can go and get their assignments from the folders. So I took that, and I started with that, and it worked quite well, and it took a lot, like I said, it took a lot of the frustration off me, and it put some more responsibility in students' hands. I decided to take it a step further and go put it on my webpage as well. And so I'm just going to show you an example student. If this student were to check the grade with the implementation of the new Power School, which I think is just awesome, that parents and students can always see their students' grades. A student would get on their Power School, log in, which they all know their logins. They can, first of all, check their final grade, which is in the red box. So this student has a 91%. This was from last quarter, and I just cropped out the student's name. I number every single one of my assignments throughout the quarter. So let's say that this student is not, I can't get it to scroll over. This student's not happy with an 82%, which if you look right here, she has an 82%, which would be a C, and she wants to bring it up to a B. She would just look at the number here where the blue arrow is pointing, and that's the number of the assignment in the quarter. This happens to be the first assignment that we did. It was a pre-reading activity for a novel that we read. From there, she has the number of the assignment, so she goes to our class webpage, which looks like this, and click on the class wiki page, and the students have dubbed it the Magic Media page. So they would get on the Magic Media page, and I've also uploaded several things that we have used in class. Some of them we haven't even used. I just put them up there. They're called Tools for Success, from charts to foldables to graphic organizers, all sorts of things. And if you scroll down a little further, you see all of our third quarter assignments are uploaded, all of our second quarter assignments, and all of our first quarter assignments. For this particular student, they were looking for, in the third quarter, the first assignment, so they would scroll down to assignment number 1, and they can, there's the We Beat the Street pre-reading activity. They can open it up. So this essentially gives them three options. They can go to the front where we have our work folders and get assignment number 1, a hard copy. They can do it in class, or they can take it home with them. If they are lucky enough to have a printer at home, they can be at home. They can print it off on their computer at home, or they can just open it up on their computers at home, and they can do it on a separate sheet of paper. So they have the assignment right here, copy it down on a separate sheet of paper. They have the answers. They bring it into class, whether they're absent, whether it's just a missing assignment, or if they just want to redo it. The other main thing that I use my web page for, and it's literally an everyday thing, is our daily schedule. And when they go to the home, I have the daily schedule linked. So it's very easy to just click there. And I have tomorrow's lesson plans updated, and it has every core as well. My homeroom, my core 1, and my core 2, and then if you scroll down, I have my core 3 as well. So it's all on there. And they also have it, this is a project we're working on right now. They have it linked right there. They can just open it right up. There's the assignment sheet for their poetry portfolio that is going to be due before we go for spring break. So it looks like a lot of work, but it's really quick and it's really simple, and I really like doing it. I really enjoy it, and it's so much better than printing off an assignment, giving it to them, printing off another assignment, handing it back to them. So this is my webpage, and thank you for having me.
Anyone have any questions for Tony?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. Mr. Davis, thank you for what you're doing and the innovation you bring into our classes. That is, it's a big difference now, because when you think of your teachers when they were teaching you and what is going on now, with everything is open up now for our children, and we can't put it back again. We have to go with what's going on now. So I just want to thank you for the innovation, and I just believe that we will continue to have a healthy competition so that all the innovation will come from our school system. Thank you.
I do have one question. I realize I'm getting old. Are you sure you're old enough to do this? Thank you.
I get that a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do for our children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, thank you very much. I believe that completes the report. Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Dr. Bryan. Before we continue with committee reports, I would like to recognize one of our own members. Tamara Brogan has been selected to serve on the North Carolina School Board Association's Legislative Committee as a District 4 at-large member. This committee at the state level, as a function of our School Board Association, is newly formed, and its purpose is to work closely with the legislature in the short session and sessions to come. And we all know that Tamara is not bashful about going to the legislature in the first place. So this gives her a real platform to carry to Raleigh and the legislature concerns that we have at the local level. And I'm delighted that she took this task, and it will be a big task. And we look forward to much action on your behalf, Tamara. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now let's proceed with committee reports. First is curriculum and instruction. Dr. Linda Smith.
Mr. Chairman, the elementary C&I met March the 12th at J. Glenn Edwards, and at that time Dr. Bryant presented updates on the following. He talked about the preparation for the 2014-2015 budget with an emphasis on the local supplement being a priority. He told the committee that the Board of Education passed another tier of scoring for the EOC testing, and this adjustment will increase student proficiency for third graders, making more of them proficient and reducing the number of students having to attend summer school. And the scoring will have a 1 to 5 tier percentage of buy-in before beginning. And lastly, he talked about some of the personnel transitions taking place at the central office. And one good thing that afternoon was that some of the committee members gave some insights. And one thing in particular, they were just really very complimentary of the 15 minutes added to the school day. And they felt like that was a wise decision. And also they talked about the richness of the Charleston, South Carolina conference. And I think Chad Smith is going to be presenting tomorrow, I believe it is, at Overhill Elementary in Cumberland County. And I believe that B.T. Bullock will be in attendance there. Tomorrow, the C&I meeting for high school will be at Lee County High School.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Facilities and Technology, Mr. Minardi.
Mr. Chairman, Facilities and Technology met on March the 27th. We had several items before us, and they are before you tonight under the consent agenda. The Carpentry House project, the auction of that, and then we reviewed and approved the Lee County Schools Technology Plan and a license agreement with the YMCA for 2014-2015, and also reviewed and approved bids for the sealing and striping of parking lots at Deep River, Warren Williams, Southern Lee, and Sand Lee. And as I said, each of these items are before you tonight on the consent agenda. Facilities and Technology will not meet in April unless something comes up. Our next scheduled meeting is May the 27th.
Thank you, Mr. Bernardi. Finance, Mr. Akanosho.
We met last month on the 25th, and I'm glad to say to us it's good to have our new finance director here, Mark Stevens. I think he's been keeping everything running smoothly since he came. I've not seen anything that was changing. And what I want to also say is that the budget process is still on, and our next meeting will be on the 24th of April.
Thank you, Mr. Akanosho. Policy, Mr. Sharp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our last policy committee meeting was held on March 25th, and we're trying to iron out a few things. Didn't get anything on for a first reading tonight, but we'll continue to work on those things. And our next meeting is April 27th.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda is approved. We have no unfinished business. Under new business, the first item is the 2014-2015 calendar. Is there a motion to approve the calendars?
I move that the Lee County Board of Education approve the 2014-2015 traditional calendar, Tramway year-round calendar, and the Lee Early College calendar on first reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
And I would like to call on Mr. Dietrich and Mrs. Spence to walk us through this, please.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having us today. Ms. Spence and I had the privilege of facilitating the calendar committee, and I just wanted to kind of run over some of the basics that these calendars do fulfill, the obligations that we must. And in each calendar, they are either meeting 185 days or meet the 1,025 hours. And you will find that the 2014-15 traditional calendar is 183 days, as well as tramways. And the early college has a 185-day calendar, with each calendar having over the 1,025 hours in the event that we have more weather-related issues, that we can fall back to the hours just as we did this year. So those are well built into the calendars. And that's about it.
Is there any other discussion or questions for Mr. Dietrich? Hearing none,
I was going to say, it looks real good. Thanks for working on it.
Calendar committee did a great job.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The calendars are approved. Thank you. Now do I hear a motion to approve the waiver for North Carolina final exams?
I move that the Lee County Board of Education approve the waiver that the Career and Technical Education Middle School Grade 4 Science and Social Studies teachers are evaluated using a school-wide growth model.
And is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Dietrich, if you would like to explain this for us, please.
When you look at the two opportunities that we're talking about, the CTE 6-8 and the elementary grade 4, we felt these were opportunities that the school-wide growth would show more than the exams. There was not enough data this year to even show grade 4 value-added data, as well as the CTE exams are not quite there yet, so we would like to give them the opportunity and therefore get the waiver done.
Any questions for Mr. Dietrich?
Just good common sense, really, to make that, to request the waiver for that reason.
Gives us time to get our data points for those teachers, which I think is more than fair for them.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I agree, yeah.
Any comments? In that case, all in favor of approving the waiver, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The waiver is approved. And finally, is there a motion to approve the individual class size waiver? And it's in your packet.
Mr. Chairman, I move the Lee County Board of Education approve the request for individual class size waivers for Broadway Elementary School.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Dr. Bryan, would you like to bring this to our attention, please?
Well, we continue to add students to our schools, and because of that, Broadway it exceeded our sort of state level where we're trying not to go beyond 24 students in the classroom. But to add a teacher at this late date really puts students who've been in classrooms all year with teachers in sort of a difficult position. And the stability at this point is really much more important than sort of the class size. So we're requesting, as we can, through the State Board of Waiver, to just add students to some classes, new students who are coming in, and keep the other students in their current classrooms.
Any comments or questions for Dr. Bryan? In that case, all in favor of approving the class size waiver, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the class size waiver is approved. And Mr. Akanosho, if you would make a motion for a closed session, please.
I move that the Lee County Board of Education go into closed sessions for the purpose of discussing information that is privileged, confidential, or not a public record under NCGS Section 143.318.11, bracket A and 1.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of moving into closed session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will recess until closed session.
That's right.
Are back in open session, and Mr. Akanosho, if you'll make the motion, we will return to our second closed session meeting.
I move that the Lee County Board of Education go into closed session for the purpose of discussing. Oh,
Mr. Chairman, don't we need to vote on the HR report?
We do indeed. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to make that motion.
yes.
Then we'll do.
I move that the Lee County Board of Education
Human resources.
Oh, okay. Hey. I move that the Lee County Board of Education approve the human resource report.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. All in approve of the Human Resources Report as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The Human Resources Report has been approved, and now we'll entertain a motion to go back in closed session. I'm sorry?
We go back into closed session.
What about chocolate?
The chocolate, yes. I was following the script.
Okay.
I move that the Lee County Board of Education go into closed session for the purpose of discussing information that is privileged, confidential, or not a record under NCGS 143-318-11A.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let's return to closed session.
Yeah, I am.
Can we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.